Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I hope you're having a great week. First off, we have a couple of things to get out the way first. This first thing I want to get out the way is I am promoting a new friend of mine. Their name is Avali and they have a Twitch channel. Link is definitely down below. They just need 25 more followers to make money and get donations. So please go follow them. Now let's get into the reasons why I took the last week off. It was because we had a Nintendo Indie Direct showcase and we also had a Resident Evil showcase. Not only that, but something very serious and dangerous is going on sometime this week. The 24th is National 4-Letter R-Word Day. I can't really say it in the first 30 seconds, but yeah, I'm sure you know what I mean. Please be safe. The first story comes from Age of Empires 4. So we now finally have a kind of a release window for this, and that is fall 2021, so we will get more information when that time comes around. And this next story comes from the Alan Wake series. Ever since the DLC for Control came out, people have been saying that we could potentially either be getting a crossover of these two games, or we could just get a whole new Alan Wake game. Because, you know, Remedy made both Control and Alan Wake. Well, Jeff Grubb came forward in his Twitch livestream and he said this. Roll it.
Okay. This is a little bit of a, you know, Epic Games was doing that thing for a while where they were only buying like exclusives of games that were already done, and everyone was like, I hate this because I like to use Steam, and I was one of those people. Epic sort of, one of the ways that they adjusted to that, one of the ways that they responded was, well, let's just fund games as they are, before they're even like started. Like, let's just fund games from the bottom up and give developers really good deals to make games that they want to make. Well, they did that. One of the companies they did that with is Remedy. And it sounds like Remedy is going to, I've heard that Remedy is going to be making Alan Wake 2 with Epic. And it should be a pretty, I mean, it should kind of be the follow-up the fans of that series want. So Alan Wake, there was a bidding war, but Epic had the best publishing deal. And so Alan Wake 2, it seems like it's coming. I don't know exactly when they'll announce it, but this is what I've heard. And I figured that you guys could hear it here first.
This next story comes from Alex Kidd in Miracle World DX. So a long time ago I talked about how this was finally announced for a remake, and we finally, after all these months of waiting, finally have a release date. It is June 24th and it comes to PC, Xbox One, PS4, and Switch, so look out for that. This next story comes from Among Us. Not really a story, but this is pretty cool. As a hardcore Smash Brothers fan, I love it. So a YouTuber with over 200,000 subscribers named P. Jiggles tweeted out this, and he said, "What does this mean?" And if you look, it's the final destination stage from Super Smash Bros. Melee, which, me personally, I love that a lot. And this next story comes from the Animal Crossing series. So we have an update on the future of this series. So in an interview with Nikkei, Shuntaro Furukawa said this. They said it's true that our recent growth has stemmed from the need for people to stay at home. Even though Japan's state of emergency is over, people are spending more time at home than before. As games with long lifespans like Animal Crossing become more accepted, we believe this will have a significant impact on future development. We want to provide games that can allow communication between friends and families. And this next story comes from Apex Legends. A couple videos ago I talked about how the server got DDoSed, and I guess you could say we kind of have an update on this. So there's this group of hackers that are going around, just keep locking out people from playing this game. So a massive Twitch streamer named the Shiv FPS tweeted out this and said, "So EA and Respawn, I'm being locked out of playing Apex, and let it be known this is a hacker locking people out of their accounts. Please work on fixing this, or maybe it'll have to be another game we play from now on. GG's, fix it." And obviously the developers are aware of this, as the head of comms, Ryan Rigney, tweeted out this, said, "We know about it and are trying every avenue, technical, legal, etc., right now to see what we can do to fix it. The situation sucks for sure, but we think it makes sense to hold most comms, aside from posts like this, until we have a solid plan in place. TLDR, team's on it." That last tweet that I read, it says legal in there, so it seems like they're actually considering legal action and suing the DDoSers and the hackers. This next story comes from Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Me personally, I'm a huge fan of the series. So this is kind of unfortunate, but the DLC or expansion pack, I don't know, Wrath of the Druids has now been delayed. Official Assassin's Creed Twitter tweeted out this and said, "To deliver a more refined experience, we're saying that Wrath of the Druids will now release on May 13th. We're working on an article to provide transparency and share insights on our dev process. Thanks for your patience. Keep an eye on our social channels for future news." And this next story comes from Atelier Ryza 1 and Atelier Ryza 2. So with both of these games combined, Koei Tecmo has officially shipped over 1 million copies of this, and in honor of this, they are releasing a free DLC costume. Koei Tecmo Europe tweeted out this and said, "To celebrate shipping 1 million copies of the Ryza series, we will be releasing a special DLC costume for Atelier Ryza and Atelier Ryza 2 at a later date." And this next story comes from Bloodborne. This might have potentially gotten a hit against this coming to the PC. Lance McDonald tweeted out this, and he just pretty much went on a rant. But he said, "A lot of people got angry at me when I debunked this nearly a year ago. I literally debunked it. I spoke to developers and a number of studios rumored to be working on it. Since then, I've decided to stop researching Bloodborne PC rumors, and I'll happily believe it when I see it. Enough time has passed that I no longer have any idea what the is going on with Bloodborne, if anything at all. It could get a PC port, a remaster, a PS5 patch, or nothing at all. I no longer have any relevant info as I last looked into it so long ago. I am happy this way. However, if you believe Bluepoint are working on Bloodborne when their contract with Sony didn't even last long enough for them to patch in the ability to delete characters in Demon Souls, you're out of your mind." By the way, in 2020, I ended up finding the original source of all the leaks that were being privately shared between insiders, which resulted in so many sporadic rumors and YouTube videos on the subject. They were 100% fake. As I said at the time, I can't prove if Bloodborne is, was, or ever will be coming to PC, but I can prove when individual people are lying and individual leaks are fake. This next story comes from Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the reboot. So 3 new maps recently got released, and for some reason 2 of them got secretly deleted not too long after they released. And as of right now, Infinity Ward hasn't really responded to any of this, so if they do while editing, I'll just put it up for you to see. But I'll give an update when possible. And this next story comes from the Castlevania anime. So Netflix tweeted out this for the final season and said, "This is where it all started. The final season of Castlevania arrives May 13th. You might be thinking this is the end of the Castlevania anime, right? Well, we have some proof that maybe this isn't going to end anytime soon. So Samuel Dietz, the director, actually said something over on Twitter that could potentially point to another season or a spin-off of the Castlevania anime or something like that, something along those lines. And he said this. He said, "While Castlevania, based on the classic Konami video game, will be coming to an end, the world it created may live on. I hear Netflix is eyeing a new series set in the same Castlevania universe with an entirely new cast of characters." And this next story comes from Crysis Remastered. So this has a console update for both PS5 and Xbox Series X and S, so get that while you can. This next story comes from Deadly Premonition 2, A Blessing in Disguise. This is now confirmed to be coming to Steam, and as of right now, there is no release date. So when there is one, I will give it to you. This next story comes from a game that I played when I was a kid, and I absolutely loved. This comes from Destroy All Humans. So this is now coming to Switch on June 29th, which is awesome for me because I haven't played this game in such a long time, and the only system I have is a Switch. So that's awesome that I can finally get the chance to play this game again. And this next story comes from the Donkey Kong series. So it looks like Diddy Kong has now gotten a new render. So a Twitter user named CosmoBritney73 tweeted out this, and they said, "Diddy Kong's render got remade from Nintendo Japan website." And if you look, yeah, he has a new render. Now, some people have made the theory that we are either getting a new game or a remake of Diddy Kong Racing. This next story comes from the F-Zero series. So according to Takaya Imamura, the series supposedly isn't dead. So according to IGN, it says, "While many Nintendo franchises have lived on with new entries, F-Zero has been quiet for nearly 2 decades, although it wasn't for lack of trying. Of course, I've thought about it many times, but without a brand new idea, it's hard to bring it back." And this next story comes from Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection. So this is now confirmed to be coming to the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Originally, I'm pretty sure this was just for the Switch, but now it's getting a multi-platform release. And as of right now, there is no release date, so when there is one, I'll give that to you. And this next story comes from The House of the Dead. This was actually confirmed in the Nintendo Indie Showcase that the first one is getting remade, and it has a release date of just this year. The second one doesn't have a release date. I'm pretty sure the second one is also confirmed to get a remake. I'm not sure. This next story comes from Inazuma 11 Great Road of Heroes. This is a Japan-only game now that unfortunately Level 5 has shut down all of their American studios. Well, this has now been delayed to 2023. And this next story comes from Jade Empire. So last week on Monday was the game's 16th anniversary, and the Game Awards tweeted out this. It said, 16 years ago today, Jade Empire was released for Xbox by BioWare in 2005. And this next story comes from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So a cosplayer with over 90,000 followers named Cy Westwood posted this as Jolene Koo, and this looks amazing, honestly. This next story comes from GoldenEye. So a trademark for this was recently filed, and it's made a lot of people question what is going on with this series. According to GameRant.com, it says, despite the hurdles to get GoldenEye remade, recent trademark filing has fans buzzing that a potential remake could be in the cards. The filing for an entertainment software title using the name GoldenEye has been filed by Danjaq LLC, the holder of copyrights and trademarks for the James Bond franchise. What exactly this means is a little more difficult to ascertain, as it could be a case of essentially renewing the trademark given the increased interest in GoldenEye in recent years. Next story comes from The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So a YouTuber with over 100 subscribers named Ohana Studio made a demake of this game. Now for those who don't know what a demake is where you take a game and you pretty much go back in time with the graphics and put it on, say, in this case, the Game Boy Color. This honestly looks really good. I'll roll a clip for you right now. And this next story, I don't know if I want to talk about this, but this comes from Leisure Suit Larry. Wet Dreams Die Twice. This is now confirmed to be coming to the PS4, Xbox One, and Switch on May 18th, so look out for that if you're into games like that. And this next story comes from Life is Strange True Colors. Something really weird actually happened the week prior to last, and it got rated for the Switch, but for some reason it's now disappeared. Ryan Brown tweeted out this and said, Life is Strange True Colors has been rated for the Nintendo Switch by the ESRB. No official confirmation or word on previous title ports. Alright, this next story comes from Metal Gear Solid. So we have a lot to talk about. We have 2 leaks to talk about. So if you don't want to hear this, I will put a timestamp up for you to skip ahead. So there is a 4chan leak claiming that we could potentially get a collection of some sort. Kind of like how Crash Bandicoot and Spyro got that. It says, we're getting a Metal Gear Solid collection in September for PS5. Collection will be split in 2. The first contains Metal Gear Solid The Twin Snakes, Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance, and Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence. Metal Gear Solid 4 is getting remastered separately, can be bought with the collection or by itself on the PS Store. There will be a physical edition with 3 games on disc and a code to download 4. These are just ports with better graphics, don't expect any HD rumble or haptic feedback implemented. Remastering 4 has been a nightmare, but they expected it to be, so it's completely bare bones in terms of extras. Legacy Collection, expect Metal Gear 1 and 2, but don't expect the skateboarding minigame or the dream sequence. Not sure why Peace Walker has been left out. I had to guess it's to create a clean collection of 1 to 4, plus 1 less game to worry about. Hey guys, sorry for the quick interruption, probably the worst sounding audio you're ever going to hear. It's okay though. So, in the middle of me editing this, I found a tweet that said this. It says, Konami filed a trademark for Metal Gear Rising and Castlevania. Now, we're not really going to be talking about Castlevania. We're just going to be talking about Metal Gear Rising. And for some reason, they decided to renew that trademark. So, hopefully, this could somehow make a comeback. Now, it's unclear if this is going to be included in the collection or if this is just getting a remake and sold separately. I guess we'll just wait and see. So there has been a lot going on and a lot pointing towards a Metal Gear Solid collection. And a Twitter user named Tom Olson is kind of a weird Twitter account, but I'll just read it. I'll just read a couple of tweets. Came down to the computer lab to say hi, but there's no one here. They must be at a scrum meeting or something. Maybe next time. And then the official Metal Gear Solid Twitter quote tweeted that, Tom, we talked about this. Please check your codec each morning updates and evacuations in case of PMC incursions. And we have visitors next week, so finish cleaning the vents, make sure the flags are all hung properly. But do not touch the C4 this time. It needs to be made clear that Tom has actually made tweets about this in the past. Now this one is actually about his birthday. It says, every morning we have to log in at the security office and enter our personal info. It's kind of a hassle. Good news though, it'll be my birthday soon. Now, if you look at his bio, his birthday is April 30th, which is actually not far away. So a lot of people have been speculating that we could potentially get an announcement on April 30th. And this next story comes from Super Metroid. Earlier this week on Sunday was the game's 27th anniversary, and people decided to celebrate over on Twitter. So a YouTuber with 21 subscribers named Kudos said, "Happy birthday to my favorite Metroid game, Super Metroid. Such an amazing game, such a fun time to speedrun." A YouTuber with 30 subscribers named Midnight Rider said, 27 years ago, Super Metroid was released for the Super Nintendo. Although not one of my favorite franchises, I can certainly see the appeal in this gem. 27 years? I'm sure time is speeding up as I get older. And this next story comes from Oxenfree. Never talked about this before, but we actually have a sequel to this that was announced at the Nintendo Indie Showcase. And it's called Oxenfree 2 Lost Signal. This has no release date other than fall 2021, so when there is a specific release date that's dumbed down, I will give that to you. The next story comes from Portal 2. Same with Super Metroid. Earlier this week on Sunday was the game's 10th anniversary, and of course, people celebrated on Twitter. So a Twitch streamer with over 1,000 followers named Straight Chat tweeted out this and said, "It's strange. Left 4 Dead feels like we made it a few years ago, and Portal 2 about 30 years ago. I miss laughing at Jay and Eric's neurosis and the strange ways it manifested the closer we got to launch. Good times." And then a YouTuber with 2 million subscribers named Mr. Dalek JD said, "Can't quite believe it, but Portal 2 released 10 years ago today. Something tells me we'll be waiting at least another 10 years for Portal 3. Come on, Valve, please." The official Discord Twitter account said, "Flashback to arguing with your sibling for 3 hours before realizing you could fling yourselves at each other. Happy 10th anniversary, Portal 2. And then a YouTuber named Tyler McVicker, who I've talked about before, he's like this Valve insider, and he said, "Portal 2 is the only reason I started doing YouTube." And Wizard Orb, who is someone with over 14,000 subscribers, said, "I genuinely don't think that Portal 2 has a single flaw. Like, I cannot name a single problem with that game. It's literally perfect." Thaf9 tweeted out this and said, "Portal 2 was released 10 years ago." Next story comes from Resident Evil 4. This was announced at the Resident Evil Showcase that this is coming to VR sometime this year. There is no confirmed or specific release date, but it's something. This next story comes from the SaGa series. So Square Enix confirmed that they are working on a new SaGa game. In the launch stream, the general director Akitoshi Kawazu said this. Unfortunately, I can't play the clip out of fear of, Square Enix potentially claiming this. But he said, "I thought porting a PlayStation game would be difficult, but all of the development staff cooperated and did their best, and we ended up making a remaster. We have released most of the past titles, including the SaGa Collection, but we still have Romancing Saga, SaGa Frontier 2, and Unlimited Saga being left out. I'm thinking we should somehow release these titles so that everyone can play them anytime. And of course, we're also preparing a new game. We're doing our best, so please kindly support us." This next story comes from the SOCOM series, or SOCOM? I don't know how to say the name because I've never heard of it or played it. But we could potentially get a new game in this series. So David Jaffa did a live stream with John Garvin not too long ago, and John Garvin, for those who don't know, is the writer of Days Gone. And when asked by a viewer in that stream, if he wanted to make a new game in this series, he said this. He said, "SOCOM has such a large following when it came out. It was always outselling Siphon Filter 2 by like 2 to 1, if I remember right. It was just a huge, huge thing. When Seth Luisi was running that group, and they were innovating with the headsets, and they had all this cool stuff going on, I think a story-driven version of that kind of game would be great." And this next story comes from Sonic Colors. So we could potentially get a remaster of this. This is pretty cool, because I played Sonic Colors when I was a kid, and I freaking loved it when I was a kid. So a Twitch streamer with nearly 10,000 followers named Games Cage tweeted out this and said, "A German production company called IK Sample, they do game localization and audio, has Sonic Colors Remastered listed on their project page. It says 2020 though. Either the game was delayed or that's when they started working on it." And our bio at Cybrid101 found out it's listed on a website too. We locked in. Now, unfortunately, the link doesn't work anymore, but Cybrid actually managed to get a picture of this and proof of this, that it was actually listed on that site. And this next story comes from Story of Seasons Pioneers of Olive Town. So the expansion pack releases on April 29th for the Switch, so look out for that. This next story comes from the Super Monkey Ball series. Never talked about this, but I loved it when I was a kid. I had it for my GameCube, and I loved it. Well, a new game was rated over in Australia, and it's called Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, I think. I didn't type the name. I just forgot to, but I think that's the name. And I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. And for this final story, comes from Neo, The World Ends With You. So someone actually found a connection between this and Kingdom Hearts. Now, honestly, I'm not surprised. I mean, The World Ends With You and Kingdom Hearts did have a crossover at a couple of times. But a Twitter user named Audrey tweeted out and said, "Sora is in Shibuya, Riku is in Shinjuku. Neo, The World Ends With You has Shibuya and Shinjuku Reapers. I swear to God this might be connected. Not only that, but we also have a confirmed release date for this. It comes out July 27th for both PS4 and the Switch. Anyways guys, that's it for this video. I have never talked about what happened in the past 2 weeks in a long time, but hopefully the video's not too long. I really hope it's not. But if you enjoyed it, leave a thumbs up, and please subscribe. I would definitely appreciate that. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.